The following is paid programming.
It's time to talk taxes.
New friends, new opportunities, new partners. EG Tax.
It's Ask the Tax Lady with Esther Gulius and EG Tax on News Radio 930 WBEN. To reach Esther now, call 803-0930. Toll free at 1-800-616-9236. And cell calls are free at star 930. And now, live from the WBEN studios, it's Esther Gulius.
Hey, everybody, this is the Tax Lady, and this is our hour to talk about taxes and money and anything that has to do with finances, whether you have you owe the IRS money, whether you've been getting love letters, anything tax or financial related is open for discussion. 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on a cell phone. And, of course, I have Tiffany Fabian here with me. Hey, Tiff.
Hey there, Esther. And Chris is off at a birthday picnic party, so he's outside enjoying the sun, which is a good idea.
All right. And, you know, all of you who have been wondering when's the best time to sell your house, we have a special guest in studio with us today, a real estate expert, a personal friend of mine, a great lady, like a brain in real estate, Judy Lewis. Hey, Judy.
Hi. Thank you, Esther. It's a pleasure to be here.
And so she's from Hunt Real Estate, and Judy is an expert in her field. She's been around the block and knows the ins and outs, and I will tell you, she knows the Western New York real estate market. And so if you've been thinking about using anyone or thinking about selling your house, this is the time to get free advice. 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on cell phone.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Chris and I sold our house about a year ago, and it takes the right person who's really in it. It's hard to be a real estate person if you're sort of dabbling in the industry. You know, it's good.
It's like any profession, right? You want
exactly.
somebody that's the best. By the way, before we get into the meat of the show, I wanted to let everybody know that live in Niagara County that might have been negatively affected by the high Lake Ontario waters and lower Niagara River waters. There's going to be a special meeting at Porter on the Lake on Wednesday at 7 o'clock, because there's information that we have that's very important to give to the residents about how you can get reimbursed by the state emergency funds that Governor Cuomo just came into Western New York the other day. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday to announce. So that special meeting is Wednesday at 7 o'clock on Porter on the Lake. And if you're living on the lake, if you know anybody that lives on the lake, make sure you let them know. 7 o'clock at Porter on the Lake this Wednesday, okay? Really, really important. And by the way, we're also working on, because so many people lost their property, we're also working on the casualty loss aspect. What we need to do is get a good appraiser who can appraise these properties and find out the decrease in the fair market value, because there's casualty losses, and that's a tax issue.
So
okay?
if you know a good appraiser.
Well, yeah, I have several appraisers working on it right now.
That's
they just
good.
don't know the angle because, right, Judy, if you don't have any comps, it's tough to tell.
Yeah.
You really have to have comps, and sometimes it's hard to find them.
Well, it's hard to find comps when nobody wants to buy your property.
Right,
now.
Exactly. I know we're finding sometimes we can only go a mile radius around the house, and sometimes there's nothing. Right. So then we have to go a little farther out or change the area a little bit. So
right. So how hot is the real estate market?
Oh, my gosh. I've just never been busier, because I've been doing it a little over 30 years, and I love my job. It's just so much fun. I meet so many wonderful people and become friends with a lot of them, because sometimes I say I spend more time with my customers than I do with my friends. But, no, the market is unbelievable, and I think the low inventory is like the biggest problem we're having right now. There's just no let-up with the impossible demand for the few houses that are left.
So, okay, so that would mean to me, if I have a house, and I've been toying with, should we sell it? George, should we sell the house? Should they list it and sell it now?
Absolutely. And now is still a fabulous time, because a lot of people want to be in for school to start. And there's still enough time, because our normal closing time is 60 days. We do see some 30-day closings if they're cash, and some 45 with a mortgage. But because it's so busy right now, it's really hard to do it in less than
and it's
60.
so weird. I was talking to my clients, and they said sometimes they would sell their house and they would have multiple offers, and they would have offers within a few days. And so they're like, oh my gosh, it was more than the price than we even offered, which
Yes.
is amazing.
I can't tell you how many multiple offers I've been on lately. And what I'm seeing is a lot of people have been on these multiple offers and they don't get the house. They're even going over asking, quite a bit over asking price, but they're getting a mortgage, and usually the cash wins. So at Hunt Mortgage, we have a pre-purchase commitment. And what that is you go to get qualified, and you get qualified. You're not pre-qualified. So once you have these papers in hands, they're almost as good
Like
as
cash.
Wow.
Then when
So
you go
that's
in on
really
your
a
next
great
offer,
negotiating.
yes, and all that's contingent upon is the appraisal. So you have this pre-purchase commitment on how much you can spend and afford. But then once you find the house, that's only contingent upon the appraisal.
Boy, that's great. That is
And,
absolutely great. So we have Judy Jack Lewis here from Hunt Real Estate. She is a real estate expert. If you are wondering about listing your house, buying your house, what interest rates are, how hard it is to negotiate, staging your house, anything real estate related, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. And of course, any tax issue is on the table as well. Why don't we go to the phones right now and talk to Joan? Hey, Joan, how can we help you?
Hi, Esther. I have a question. Myself and my husband filed our income tax on the 12th of April.
Okay.
Just a regular, nothing special, just
Right.
regular income tax. So a month goes by, and I'm checking my bank account to see if my check was direct deposited. Nothing as of then. So I call, the refund, where's my refund hotline, and they tell me, it's all a prompt, and they tell you that it said we have no information about your refund at this time.
Okay.
Okay, so a few weeks goes by again, same thing. I call. Well, now we call back our guy that did our taxes, and he doesn't return our call over and over and over again. We finally get through. We actually walked back in his office, and he doesn't know anything that's going on. So he says, "Let me call the IRS." Still doesn't get back to us. Well, now we find out that I finally get through to the IRS. 3 hours I was on the phone. They said that somebody filed our taxes using mine and my husband's name and Social Security.
Yep. You're a victim of identity theft.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But what I find very odd is that we filed our taxes. He said it went in before the 18th of April. Now, according to the IRS, somebody else who filed under our names filed May the 12th. Wouldn't that
Okay, well, here's the thing, Joan.
Okay.
He obviously didn't send them in or it rejected because the first person to the water cooler with your Social Security number and ID is the person that they would process first. So obviously there's several things you need to do. You need to file your return paper. You need to
An
contact-
affidavit. She has to do an IRS affidavit form.
Right, so that the IRS knows that you're the real person here. You're going to have to file a paper return, and it's going to take, I have to tell you, sometimes it takes a year to straighten it out.
right? Well, we've already done all that.
Okay.
Since we filed first because
Well, but you didn't file first.
Yeah,
You may think you filed first, but he didn't send it in.
is what it sounds like.
Right.
yeah,
Because had he sent it in and you were acknowledged, you would have been the first person, but he didn't file you. He must have maybe had a problem getting it in. I have no idea, but you didn't have it filed.
okay, yeah. 'Cause
Okay.
I thought it would be unusual that
Right.
IRS doesn't red flag.
That's exactly right. And so, from now on, they're going to send you a special ID number to go with your tax return for it to be done electronically. But you're just going to have to work through it. And if you need any help, just give us a
And
call.
it wouldn't be a bad idea to pull your credit and make sure that there's no other
Right.
fraud. And
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All that information.
Yes.
IRS.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Yes.
Thanks, Joan. I'm sorry to hear about it. If you need any help, give us a jingle, okay?
thank you.
Thank you, dear. Bye-bye.
That's
I'm
a
Esther
travesty.
Gullius, the tax lady from EG Tax. We're here in studio with Judy Jack Lewis, a real estate professional from Hunt Real Estate. If you have any real estate questions, you're thinking of selling, they need inventory. You'd be surprised how much money you can make off your house. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back on the other side. Hey, I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on the cell phone. We're not only talking about taxes, but we're talking about real estate and how to make money on real estate, and what a great time it is. And we have special guest in studio, Judy Jack Lewis from Hunt Real Estate. And if you have any questions regarding should you sell your home, what it'll take to sell your house, is this a good time to sell? 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. And let's go back to the phones. We'll talk to Brownie. Hey, Brownie, how can we help you?
I got a question to ask you about health insurance.
Sure.
My wife's ready to die out of cancer,
Oh,
and I got her health insurance under her name.
uh-huh.
What kind of insurance do I have?
Okay.
What does- what do you
Brownie,
get, Medicare?
How old are you?
It's 84.
Okay, don't you get Medicare?
Yeah.
So your Medicare would be your primary, okay? And then
Supplemental.
don't you have a supplemental health insurance plan as well?
Blue Cross Blue Shield, but that's gonna go.
Okay, so what you need to do is contact Blue Cross Blue Shield and let them know your situation, and they'll start billing you.
And if you have problems, call our office, and at no charge we'll
And
help you.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
I'm very sorry about your wife, Brownie.
Thank you very much.
And I like his
Bye-bye.
name.
Yeah, that's a shame. Okay, we're going to switch gears here. 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on cell phone. All right, Judy, so we know this is a great time to sell. You're saying there's very little inventory. So this is a great time to list your house. And
Yes, our medium sale price is up 12%, and like the
Wow.
last 2 years in Buffalo have been the best 2 years.
So
that meant a few years ago, if it was worth 100, it's worth 112.
Exactly,
Wow.
exactly.
And if you're putting your house on the market, you probably want to make it look the best that it could possibly look. So staging it
when
is-
you have somebody that calls you to list their house, all right. And by the way, you can call Judy to list your house, and you would be really smart to do it. So do you go in and kind of say, maybe you should put away the pictures?
Yes,
paint this
actually,
wall?
on our first meeting, I go through and take a look at the house before I even do the competitive market analysis for them and give them some tips. But, the first thing you see when you drive up is the front of the house. So the front door needs to be immaculately clean and painted nicely. I tell people to do the interior and the exterior windows. If there's carpeting that's shabby, sometimes you have to
It's better to replace it,
Replace it, or if you have hardwood floors, redo them.
Yep.
People love hardwood floors and wallpaper. Although it is coming back now, most people don't want a lot of wallpaper in a house because it's expensive to take it down and you got to paint. So, and also family pictures, put those away. I would say most people that I've gone to their homes have bookshelves and fireplace mantles. I tell them to take about 60% of the things off the mantle. And a little rule of thumb, this is a little tip that I got from a stager that I use. I have a professional stager that I use on certain homes. And she said anything bigger than a cantaloupe could be on the shelves, anything smaller. So all those little, like some people collect little glass shoes and little trinkets. All that stuff needs to come down.
So larger.
Right. Larger items and less.
And less.
Less is best because I don't know about you, but if I go into a house where there's a lot of things, I'm looking at their things.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at the house.
And so a real estate agent told me once when Chris and I were trying to sell our house, you want to get rid of that personal stuff so they can almost envision themselves being in that house.
Right.
And they want to see, could this be for me?
Exactly. And if there's too much stuff in the house, they're looking at your stuff.
Right.
Right. Some people have a lot of antiques and beautiful furniture, but you don't want them to be concentrating on your stuff.
Yep.
Right.
Well, and the other thing is what I don't think people realize is especially if you have another house you want to buy, and the cost of carrying this house is $2,000 a month. Mm-hmm. Every month you carry that house, it's like you are spending $2,000 in your old house that you shouldn't spend. So if you need to replace the carpeting and it's $500, I mean, think about carrying that house for a couple more months.
Right.
It just makes sense. I think I know that when I look at my own house, sometimes I pretend I've never seen my house before, and I open up the door and open my eyes fresh to look at your house fresh.
That's a good thing to do. It really is. You know, we sold our own house 3 years ago, and I actually had a stager come because you know what it is when you live in your house, you get used to your things.
That's right.
We had a lot of family pictures and things, trinkets.
Right.
So we took all of those down, but we did have to replace a carpet in the family room because it was dated. It was a hunter green color that was in years ago. And
That's right.
It was in good condition.
It was probably in perfect condition.
It was, but we put a brand new carpet in and just, we did the little things that we had to do.
The neutral stuff.
The house sold in 2 days. We were lucky, but
Yeah.
And if you do price it right, it's going to sell quickly. But if you price it way too high, it sits on the market.
And people look to see how long it's been on the market.
It gets stale, and then people say to me, "Why is this house on the market 90 days?
Right.
What's wrong with it?"
Right.
And sometimes
Especially in
there's
this
nothing wrong
market.
with it. If something doesn't sell in 90 days, it's either price or condition, and a lot of times it's price.
And I work with the taxpayers all the time, and I can think of one client of mine in particular. She's been trying to sell her house for 2 years. For 2 years, and she won't come down in price. Well, then she's not going to sell the house. And I said to her, you spent like $25,000 carrying this house. Mm-hmm. If you would have come down $25,000, you might have sold it.
Right.
So, and then that's another thing I wanted people to know is, if this is your personal residence and you've lived in it 2 out of the last 5 years, and you're married filing a joint return, how much is tax free, Tiff?
It's all tax free.
Well, up to
$250,000 of gain if you're single, and $500,000 if you're a married couple. So,
right.
Wow, what a windfall!
So that means that you can sell the house, walk away with a ton of money,
what a windfall,
and not pay any taxes, and not have to buy another house.
Right, it's terrific.
Yes, I know you, Esther, have always been champion at selling and getting rid of a personal house, and I think you're really good at doing that fresh eye, looking at it with a fresh perspective, and saying, this is what it's going to take to sell.
Right. Right. So, Judy, all right, how does somebody go about getting their house on the market? What would somebody do?
Well, the first thing they would do is call and make an appointment, and then I'd come over and take a look at the house with them and give them some ideas on how to stage it, how to get ready to sell it. I mean, one thing I do emphasize is if there's peeling paint on the outside of the house, that's going to be a problem getting a mortgage. So if it's wintertime, I just say, well, I guess you can say that you'll take care of it
in the spring.
But now it's a good time because you can paint outside. And so that's one thing to get it ready. And then, people should really get their title search and things in order.
You mean that paperwork?
Yes, because once we sell the house, they have like 60 days to get everything together quickly. So if you have that ready ahead of time, that's a good thing. Right, exactly.
Okay, and then so they would call you, you would do the analysis, and then do you tell them do you give them the idea of how much to list the house for?
Yes.
Or
usually I give them a little bit of a range. So, I say if you want to start at a little bit higher number, we can do that and see, if that's the right number. And then if maybe 2 weeks goes by and we don't have an offer in this market with this low inventory, then maybe it's time to reduce it.
I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax. We have special guest in studio Judy Jack Lewis, who is an expert. You can hear it on real estate, selling real estate, buying real estate. If you have any questions about should you list it, why isn't your house selling, or maybe you want to list it, maybe you want to sell your investment property and maybe buy new investment property, this is the place to call and get some free information. 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. And, of course, any tax-related issue, you're free to call as well. Okay, Judy, so now how are the increases in mortgage rates affecting people as far as on the buyer side? Obviously not at all.
Well,
right?
I don't think so. I think people are worried because the Fed rate, right? I think they're worried it is going to go up, so they're thinking now is a good time to buy. Maybe they want to hurry up and buy now before it does go up.
What are interest rates at now?
Under 4%.
Under 4%,
right.
okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember, unfortunately, I'm dating myself, when there was 18%. to get a mortgage.
I remember that too, Esther.
I mean,
no.
mortgages were 18%, and you were happy.
Jeez.
And interest rates were some like 21% at the bank.
Okay.
You could get.
Wow.
So, you know.
And Esther, I have a question for
Yeah.
you too. I see a lot of people that are buying patio homes now. So a lot of times what's happening is they're selling their primary residence that they raise their children in, and they're moving down size-wise, but not necessarily price-wise. So a lot of them could pay cash for their house, but they're taking mortgages. That makes sense, right?
Not necessarily.
No.
If you don't need to have a mortgage, if you and this is the whole thing of interest of percentages. Let's say you're in the 10% tax bracket and you are taking a mortgage and you're paying $20,000 in interest. All you're really going to save in taxes is $2,000. So you just paid $20,000 to save $2,000.
Not to mention, when you're over the age of 65, you get a higher standard deduction, so that's $1,250 times 2.
Right.
So it's going to be very difficult for
less.
them to itemize.
Right.
Okay.
So if you need a mortgage, the good thing is the IRS partners with you and you're getting something back. If you don't need a mortgage, you should not get a mortgage because you're financially it's better not to have the mortgage.
Right.
Unless you're going to make more money than your mortgage amount by investing.
Right.
By putting money.
So if you don't
into the
need
market.
it, don't
If you
get
don't
it.
need
Okay.
it, don't
Okay.
get it.
And then-
a lot of people will say to me, "I'm not going to pay off my mortgage because of the tax write-off." Many times the write-off is like nothing,
Right.
especially with the standard deduction.
And then, not to mention, President Trump is thinking about doing some things with itemized deductions. So
which
with
would
property
make the
tax.
standard deduction even higher.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. So that would mean another reason not to have a mortgage.
Right.
I'm Esther Gulius, the
Good
tax
question.
lady from EG Tax. Our phone number here is 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. Remember the old days that said that if you're over the age of 55, you had to buy another house of greater or equal value when you sell? That's not the case. Up to $500,000 of gain is tax-free if you sell your house and you're married filing a joint return. $250,000 is tax-free if you're single and you're selling your house. So this is such a great time. And Judy's phone number is 868-6393, 868-6393. And I'm assuming you're on the Hunt website as well, right?
Oh, yes. And I also have my own website, too, which is www.judyjacklewis.com. But I'm also on the Hunt website. In fact, people ask me when I list their house, am I going to be on the websites? And you're going to be on everything. You're going to be on my personal, on the Hunt website, on Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, all of them.
All right.
We
I'm
cover
Esther
all the
Gulius, the
bases.
tax lady from EG Tax. We're going to take a short break for news. We'll be back on the other side.
Stevie Nicks.
Hey, yeah, this is Esther Gulius. I'm not Stevie Nicks. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady. We have a special guest in studio here this week, Judy Jack Lewis from Hunt. And I'm going to tell you, if you're driving around and you look at your spouse and you say, gee, should we list our house? You know, we've been thinking about selling it. I tell you, you just can't go wrong. Judy is absolutely a consummate professional. She's got, I hate to say it, but you do have quite a few years of experience, don't you?
Yes, a little over 30. And
she looks like a teenager, so she's got the
That's
best
a
of
good
both
quality.
worlds going.
Well,
And
thank
her
you.
phone number is 868-6393, 868-6393. She's got her own website, and it's www.
JudyJackLewis.com.
And
right.
you're also on Hunt.
on the Hunt website, right.
So
if you list a house, people would be listed on both those websites.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And all the other ones, too. Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. You know, they all populate through once it's in the ML system.
So if I list my house with you, Judy, what kind of things can I expect you to do for me as my realtor?
One of the things, I'm really big on marketing. And
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. It's a great thing. And I have a professional photographer come in and photograph your house. And he does a fantastic job. And honestly, I think the thing that gets people in, they're on the internet, they're coming in from out of town, they're looking at your photos.
Yeah, that's
and,
true.
You know, I don't know if you've looked around for houses online, but sometimes you see rooms that are really dark.
Yep,
or
yep.
You think, oh, wow, I wouldn't put those pictures
It
on.
is true. The other
Right.
day I was looking, because I like to invest in real estate, I was looking at a house and I just thought, what a horrible presentation of this house because of the way it was photographed. They had left laundry on the bed. Can you imagine?
I have seen that.
Here's
And
the laundry basket on the
I
bed.
can't tell you how many times my photographer and I, because I'll always go to that shoot too, and we're moving things around to make sure things aren't in the picture that you don't want in
Right.
the picture. But one of the reasons I love being with Hunt Real Estate is, well, first of all, we try to give top-notch service and superior results, and I think we do. And it's also locally owned and operated, and that means a lot to me. They've been there over 100 years.
Means a lot to me too, right?
Yeah.
Because we're very locally
Right.
owned and operated.
But
it's absolutely true. You want, you want to have that personal connection.
Right. And we also have our own marketing department.
And you guys know the
Yeah.
market,
Yeah.
right?
So I do beautiful, fabulous color brochures, and our Hunt marketing department prepares them for me, and they look fantastic. And we send them to out of towners that are coming in and pass them out. Sometimes we do them in the open houses, and everyone always asks me if open houses sell houses. I tend to think that most people are going to make an appointment and come and see it. If they want to see it, they'll see it on the internet or in the paper.
As opposed to driving around.
Right, but a few weeks ago, I did sell a house in an open house, so I don't rule it out.
Right.
Someone brought a neighbor. I saw him walking over, and he said, they always tiptoe in like, I don't want you to know I live down the street, and I walked over. And I always say, come on in, it's
Right,
fine.
that's right.
And he said, well, I'm going to bring my aunt in a half hour. And I thought, sure. He brought his aunt. She bought the house.
Isn't that great?
And
you
then
never know. You never know.
I think that some people who go to open houses, they might not right away buy it, but I know like Chris and I, we just bought our new house and it was an open house that we went to. And I don't know if that person even knows, but then we went back again and again. I mean, I think sometimes you might not even know that person went to the open house.
Right.
And
I think in the
turned into a
beginning
buyer.
stages, it's a good way to kind of get an idea for the market
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
price range and what you can get.
That's true. And I bet you sticker shock is a big thing right now, isn't it?
It is because the prices are up, and
So where is the hot markets? Where in Buffalo
Well,
is it really?
in the city, the Elmwood Village, the Delaware Park area, North Buffalo's on fire. Houses aren't lasting a day or two, and in the suburbs, Snyder is still really hot, and we have so little inventory. I have a list of people waiting to see houses in Snyder. I wish
All right,
we'd
you
get
guys
some more
listening?
listings.
She's got lists
We
of
need
people
lists.
who
We need
want to
listings.
buy your house.
Yes, right.
I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax. If you are interested in anything real estate related, Judy Jack Lewis from Hunt Real Estate is our special guest. I'm going to go to the phones and talk to Pat. Hi, Pat. How can we help you?
Hello. I take my wife down to the Cleveland Clinic for medical reasons. Am I allowed to write off the travel expenses on the taxes?
Yes, you can. You can take the mileage and you can take the hotel, not your meals, and if your
Parking.
And your parking and your tolls. And your hotel is deductible if it's necessary for you to be there for her. And I'm assuming you're an emotional support for her, and she probably needs you to drive as well, right, Pat?
Yes.
Yeah, so your hotels can be deductible, not your meals, your tolls, your parking, and, of course, the medical that exceeds 10% of your adjusted gross income.
Yeah. Okay.
All right?
Alrighty.
Thank you, Pat.
Good question.
Bye-bye. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. All right, so some of these areas in the past were just like lumping along, and now it's just unbelievable, isn't it? Now, in these older neighborhoods, like in the city, do people have to completely remodel their house in order for them to sell? Or are people just buying them?
Not necessarily. I think a lot of people that are in construction or flippers, so to speak, I think they're buying these houses because they know they can make a lot of money on them, if they can get them at the right price.
So, do you see a lot of people that are flippers?
Yeah, a fair amount. Not a lot, but a fair amount are.
So a flipper is somebody who buys the house low, puts money into it, and then sells it at a profit, right? So you're not seeing a lot of them, but there is opportunity.
There's definitely opportunities.
And if you're a flipper and you have that house for less than a year, that's a short-term capital gain. Yep.
Which means it's tax like wages.
That's right. Exactly.
Right.
Okay, so now we talked about staging your house. We talked about markets that are hot. How long typically does it take for a house to sell?
Well,
would you really expect?
You know, in this market, if you price it right, I would say like between 2 weeks and 6 weeks. You know, if
So
you're
you better
pricing
be
it right.
ready to move.
Yeah.
All right, so if my house is for sale right now and it has not sold, what questions do I have to ask myself?
Well,
I should have a
first
big
of all,
conversation
you're-
with myself, right?
Exactly. You're probably overpriced, you know, and maybe you didn't take the advice of your agent, and maybe you should think about taking that advice. My strategy lately has been to go in a little bit under where you think it will be, and you know, I've seen houses go 30, 40, even 110,000 over asking.
What? And that's
I
why
just
go
had one
lower.
that was over 100,000
Because they had
over asking.
they had a bidding war?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So what you're saying is you priced it below because you want to get multiple offers.
Right. Well,
right?
this one particular one, I didn't even think it was below, but so many people wanted the house, and there was just so few houses in this particular neighborhood that it went way over.
Wow. Wow. Now, do you? I'm sorry, Tiff.
Oh,
go ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to ask, say you have a house, Chris and I, our old house was a house in Clarence that didn't have a basement. What if you have a house that has a sticking point, something that's really difficult for people to overcome?
You mean unusual?
Unusual. What would be your advice to help that seller?
Well, to price it right for one thing, but I
Okay.
think not having a basement is usually a negative unless
Right.
people don't save things. you
Right,
know?
right.
Or people will realize maybe there's a space in the
Crawl
garage
space.
or something above where they could put things.
Yeah, I think our real estate agent said then you have to make everything else better. You
Right.
have to make everything else just pristine and better. And you
Exactly.
really have to overcome that objective.
You know, speaking of real estate agents, so it was interesting in your situation.
Yeah.
The first real estate person that you
Used.
used was somebody that was inexperienced.
Right,
And I
correct.
said to you,
Yep.
you are really making a
Wasting your
mistake.
time. Yep.
Because every
Yep.
month you're carrying that house,
Yep.
right? And so then you went with an experienced
and
realtor.
actually that other person that you're talking about gave us a much better commission rate, so that was our emphasis.
You
And
mean
that,
the first person?
the first person,
And that's why they had to give you because they really weren't very good.
right. And so you got to make sure that you don't want to be penny foolish. What's the
Penny
saying?
wise and pound
penny
foolish.
wine and pound foolish, right?
I know. I have a lot of people that try to go for sale by owner. They'll have me come over and do the market analysis and help them price it, and then they put it on the market and usually end up calling me about a month later.
Yeah, yeah.
And because you just don't reach that many people when it's for sale by owner, and you get unqualified buyers. They haven't gone for the pre-qualifying.
Spinning your
Right.
wheels
exactly.
for no
So,
reason. Yep.
You know, they can
And-
try it on
and
their
that-
own, but
that's-
it's really hard.
That's the whole thing is every month you keep your house, you're paying to keep that house. And so that stops you from getting to where you want to be, especially if you got the second house that you've already made the offer on.
Right, exactly.
And you got a contingency.
Exactly. And now is the time because of the 60-day closing.
Yeah.
Usually this will get people in for school still, you
Yeah.
know, it's close.
I
but,
was
right.
thinking, I have a lot of clients and I have a lot of people who call our office and they're trying to get a house, but they're trying to fix their credit to try to tie up those loose ends and things like that. So when you go in to buy a house nowadays, is it harder for people to get mortgages? Are you finding?
Well, I think it is. You know, we have we deal with Nancy Clary Frank at Hunt Mortgage in our office, and she does a fabulous job. But she does help people clean up their credit
Yeah.
if they have credit cards, school loans, different things. She helps them, you know,
do the
figure
right
out what
things.
to do to be ready to be a good qualified buyer.
Because that's her
Why
specialty.
don't we go back to the phones? We have Linda from North Tonawanda. Hey, Linda, how can we help you?
Well, good afternoon, ladies. Love your show.
Thank you.
Well, the reason I'm calling, I'll just give you a little background. I'm 74 years of age. I have lived in my home, which is a duplex, for 30 years.
Okay.
I just sold it. At the same time, I purchased a ranch single-family home. However, the gentleman that does my taxes informed me that I have to pay $15,000 in capital gains. So there goes my profit. Is there any way of getting around that, or what do you suggest?
All right. If you have, all right, well, first of all, it's basically two sales. One is on the personal side. The personal residence that you had lived in is going to be completely tax-free if the gain, you're single or married?
I'm single.
All right. If the gain is less than $250,000, that portion is going to be tax-free. The rental portion, though, you have to recapture all the depreciation. So how much, Linda, did you sell the house for?
For $225,500.
And it's a 50-50 rental?
Correct.
All right. So how long had you said for 30 years?
Yes.
Okay. So assuming that the gain is about $112,000, and it's not going to actually be that much because you got expensive sales. So let's say $105,000. So do you have other sources of income?
Yes. I have my pension and, of course, Social Security.
Okay. So your pension is how much?
My pension is about $50,000.
Okay. So the gain being let's say $110,000, you are going to pay at least $15,000 when you consider state and federal taxes, and that's on the recapture of the depreciation on the rental portion.
See, the problem is part of it was for rental and part of it was residential. The residential, you don't have to worry about any capital gain. It's that portion of rental, Linda.
Right. So you're definitely going to get stuck with that. Had we talked before this, you might have been able to do an exchange, but you actually can't exchange from an investment property, which the rental is, into a personal residence that you're going to live in. So that wouldn't even help you. You would have had to buy another piece of investment property in order for that to have worked. So unfortunately, you got to pay the piper.
Do you work at all anymore, Linda?
Oh, I don't.
Okay, because I was thinking of putting money into an IRA this year.
Unfortunately, not.
Yeah.
So I would think that $15,000 is what you're looking at minimum.
And then don't forget, like Esther said, all of your expenses. If you had the real estate commission, you can lessen that blow with the real estate cost. the lawyer cost. So you can lessen the blow with your closing expenses.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Expenses in closing the home I'm purchasing,
no, house you're selling.
The one that you sold,
right.
The duplex.
Oh boy, no wonderful meals for me, I guess.
Well, thanks for calling, Linda.
Thank you, ladies.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye. I'm Esther Gullius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. We have Judy Jack Lewis from Hunt Real Estate here to answer your questions. We're going to take a short break. We'll be on the other side.
You're a rich girl, and you're gone too far, 'cause you know it don't matter anyway.
You can rely on the old man's money. Yeah, right. You got to rely on your money.
That's right.
Right? I'm Esther Gullius, the tax lady from EG Tax. All right, we're talking with Judy Jack Lewis from Hunt Real Estate. If you are somebody in the market for a home, maybe you didn't even think of selling your house, listen to what Judy's saying. You can make a killing right now, and they need your inventory. We're going to go back to the phones, and we're going to talk to Greg in Clarence. Hi, Greg. How can we help you, sir?
Actually, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
I am in a process of selling a home in Clarence and relocating to Southern California due to a job. And I actually have two quick questions.
Sure.
The first question is how long do I have before I have to purchase my home in California before I pay any type of capital gain?
All right. Greg, how long have you had your home in Clarence?
Almost 10 years.
All right. So is your gain going to be, are you married or single?
Married.
Is your gain going to be less than $500,000?
Yes.
You don't have to buy another house. It's all tax-free.
It is. Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, we were just in Southern California last week, and I hope you got very deep pockets, buddy.
We drove by Hugh Hefner's place. It was very nice digs.
Yeah.
Oh, I won't be.
You're not going to be at Hugh's house?
I'll be in the Orange County area. But
that's where we were.
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
I won't be anywhere near Hugh Hefner's house.
Okay. All right. So you can sell the house,
man.
take the money. It's going to be completely tax free, and you can buy at your leisure. If you decide not to buy and you want to rent, that's no problem. It's going to be tax free.
Okay, and then my last question real quick is my wife and I are actually concerned. We have what we feel and everybody else feels a very nice home in Clarence, and it's been on the market for almost 2 months, and we felt it's been, pretty well comped price, and everybody keeps telling us it's a seller's market, and unfortunately...
Before...
For everybody but you, right?
Well, you know what? Before Judy answers, I just want to say that I've discovered, and I'm not a professional, that the more costly the house is, it takes longer to sell.
It does. The higher the price, it takes a little longer to sell.
Right.
But have you had a lot of activity on the house?
Yes. We've had over 27 private showings.
Wow.
We've had 2 open houses and a total of between 55 and 60 total people have come through.
Jeez. So would you say that he needs somebody fresh to look at this house to maybe say that maybe this needs to be done, maybe you need to do this.
Yes. What has the feedback been? Like, what's the feedback on those 60 people that have looked at the house?
From what our agent has told us, it's just primarily our backyard. We have a private backyard where it's wooded and it's protected in terms of like a wetland, so you can't really develop a lot of it. You can develop some of it, but not a lot. But the biggest one we were told is that the backyard was too small. Our house is it's approximately 3,100 square feet. But the backyard, we have a small little pool back there, and a gym set. But they said that the backyard was small.
Greg, I got to tell you, while Judy's thinking, Chris and I had a hard time selling our house in Clarence, and I just want to tell you from personal experience, don't give up. You will prevail. But then, Judy,
Right.
I think a fresh set of eyes is a good idea.
I'm listening to what you said about wetlands. So is there flood insurance necessary on this property?
No.
Oh, that's good. Okay, sometimes that's a negative because it can run into thousands of dollars a year, and that could be a negative. But, well, you know what? Have you done any price reductions?
We've done one.
Maybe you should consider another one, because if you're having open houses and you're having a lot of activity and you just don't have that offer, I always say it's either the price or the condition, and you said it's in good condition.
Oh, very good condition, yeah. I mean, it's everybody who comes into our house, at least our friends, tell us how lovely it is. But,
Right. Is it listed on all the websites? Have you looked it up yourself on the internet?
Yeah. No,
And your photos are good?
Yep, very good. I mean, in the house shows pretty much exactly what the house looks like. That's why, I mean, we're just dumbfounded.
I know. Every once in a while you have something like that happen and you just don't know why. But I think I would probably consider maybe one more reduction. I don't tell people to reduce the house every week. Usually we do one or two good reductions and hope for the best, hope that we get an offer.
And, I think another problem Chris and I had is people weren't telling us the truth. I mean, you really have to have a come to Jesus moment. And your friends will tell you, and probably it's the truth, that your house looks great. But Esther is very good at being honest. And so you just have to have a come to Jesus.
I guess you got to have me come over, Greg.
She just, every little tiny little thing she would point out.
Well, that's because I know what it takes to sell a house.
Yeah.
But
Esther's
anyway,
gotta come over.
again, you got Judy's phone number. Her phone number is 868-6393. If you need her, she's an absolute expert. Okay, Greg?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Good luck.
Good luck to you.
Bye-bye.
Persevere.
Or have me come over. All right, we're going to go to the phones and talk to Lori. Hi, Lori. How can we help you?
Hi, how are you today?
Good.
I'm trying to find out. My son has a house that he wants to sell. Well, he bought the house, moved out of it about 8 years ago, and is now living in another house and wants to sell this one that has been rented.
Okay.
How is he going to make out with taxes and stuff?
Okay, well, he can, if he sells it, he's going to have all the depreciation that he's been claiming. Has to be recaptured,
which
because
doesn't
the
sound
basis is going down.
Doesn't sound like it's a lot. He just bought
8 years.
Oh, 8 years?
Right?
Yes.
Oh,
He's
sorry.
been renting it for 8 years.
Sorry, forgive me.
Do you have any idea, Lori, what he paid for it?
No, I know he refinanced it.
But what did he pay for it back 8 years ago?
$30,000.
All right, and what do you think it's worth now?
Probably $130,000.
It went up $100,000?
Yeah, he got a deal.
Whoa.
Or did he put a lot of work into
All right,
it?
so assuming that the depreciation was about $1,000 a year, 8 years of depreciation means the basis goes down to $23,000, which means that he's going to have a gain of $77,000. So he's going to pay. Does he have any other source of income?
He works, yes.
All right. He's going to pay. Does he make a fairly good dollar?
Yes.
So he's going to pay about $15,000 in income taxes, federal and state.
Okay, and that's.
But if he walks out with 130 less 15, he's got 115 on a $30,000 investment. I'll do that all day long.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. And don't forget, Judy Lewis, Jack Lewis here, is who you would want to call if you're you do investment property as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. I have a lot of investors.
So, and again, her phone number is 868-6393, 868-6393. And I will tell you, from my own perspective, I have known Judy. Judy, we've known each other a while, but she's an absolute professional. And you're not in this part-time, right?
No, I do it very full-time. I love my job. I really enjoy what I do. I always feel lucky that I like what I do.
Oh,
and
they say you never work a day
I
in your
meet
life.
so
if you
many
like
nice
what you do.
people. I really enjoy it. And
you get to work with your husband?
Yes, exactly. My husband works with me, and I have another full-time girl, Wendy Nalon, and without her, it would be very tough. But I do work 7 days a week, and you really have to be in real estate full-time. It's very hard to work with someone part-time because I know some people try to do it part-time, and you know, it's very hard to get in touch with those people because they have a full-time job during the day and they're doing this at night or on weekends. And it certainly is a night and weekend job, but I think it's a 7-day job.
Right, and it is 7 days. You know, it's interesting because I can remember the first time I bought any property in Florida, because I have property in Florida. It was at the height of the bubble. And the realtors, you would say, "Can you show me this on Sunday?" And they'd say, "We don't work on Sunday. And if you want this house, drive by. And if you don't make a full offer, don't even come talk to me." That was at the height of the bubble. Now that's not where your guys are at.
No. I think most people that go into real estate realize that there's some time. It's a big time investment.
So when you're dealing with the seller, and that usually they also become a buyer.
Yes, usually I'm working
you'll help
both
them
ways
with their mortgage and everything.
Right. Well, yes, I usually refer them to Hunt Mortgage because Hunt does a fabulous job, and then of course I told you about the pre-purchase commitment, which I think is just fabulous. And so I don't really handle the financing as much. I do, you know.
So the cool part about the pre-purchase commitment means that if you don't have cash, you come in with a letter that says that you can buy this house.
Yes, it's not just a pre-qual. Right, you're ready to go, and it's just contingent on your appraisal. So,
and I think the sellers, real estate agents, know that that's pretty much gold.
Right, exactly.
Sounds like.
I've been on so many multiple offers lately, you know, some that I've gotten and some that I don't get. And the market is just, I mean, there's just never been a better time.
All right, so if you're sitting there drinking your lemonade in the backyard today, and you have been thinking, you look at your spouse and say, maybe we should call Judy because we need to list our house. This is an absolute great time to sell. From a tax perspective, if it's your personal residence and you lived in there the last 2 years, or if you have a special circumstance, it's going to be tax-free. Give Judy a call at 868-6393. Judy, we thank you for you coming.
Thank you.
Spending Saturday
with us. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
And of course, give EG Tax a call anytime and go to our website at egtax.com. Have a great week. Bye-bye.